Hi, my name is Chris Doyle. I'm the Director of New Experiences at Cyan Inc., and we're here at E3 2016 showing Obduction.
So a lot of people know a little game you made called Myst back in the day. Can you talk about how that game inspired what you guys are doing with this new title?
Sure, it was a huge inspiration. This game is very much in the same vein as Myst and its sequel Riven were. So it's a complete first-person exploration, puzzle-solving adventure, and it's kind of billed as a spiritual successor to Myst. All new storyline. It's kind of a new IP, but yeah, same kind of gameplay and sense of mystery and adventure.
So technology has come a long way since the original Myst. Can you talk a little about what tech you're using to build this on and what that opened up creatively?
Sure. We're using Unreal Engine 4 for this game, and we've been able to really get amazing visuals. Our artists are very talented, and using Unreal Engine 4 has really given them the power to be able to really take control of the technology, to use what's there and then to harness it and to have a lot of the control themselves, compared to maybe in years past where they had to rely on a lot more of a technical team to help out. They have a lot of that power now that they can really bring their visions to life.
Talk a little bit about this world from a visual landscape perspective.
The game Obduction is there's a series of worlds that you travel in, and each one of those is incredibly different from each other. There's a major visual distinction between them. There's 3 major worlds that you end up traveling to, as well as a handful, I think about 3 smaller worlds. And what those worlds are, they bring different sorts of not just the environment with them, but a different mood and a different kind of insight into the history and the story that you start to unravel as you play the game.
What is the basic premise of the story?
The very basic premise, we're not going into too many details now, but I can say that there's a lot to it, kind of like Myst was, in that you are kind of snatched up from your life and dropped into an incredibly mysterious and almost surreal landscape. And you have no idea why you're there. You start seeing elements of the familiar, but there's a lot of unfamiliar items also mixed in there. So it's that juxtaposition that really helps ground you a bit and helps you keep moving along as you unravel the story. But we don't put a lot of story up front in there. There's a little bit of voiceover at the beginning of the game that does some real basic setup. But a lot of the story is meant to be learned as you begin your explorations.
Can you talk about the planets, environments you've shown so far at GDC and E3?
What we've shown so far at GDC and continuing at E3 is one of our worlds. It's the first major world you come to, and that's called Hunrath. That one involves, that one has probably the most Earth-like elements in there. In addition to these strange alien landscapes, there's a good amount of some let's say Earth architecture and artifacts that you start seeing a hybridization, I guess, with these new worlds that you're in. And then as you progress through the game, we start getting away from some of the Earth elements, and you start really getting a lot more of the alien worlds that you come across, and that includes the culture. Every one of these alien worlds, these different places you go, has a different background and has a different history to it, and that's reflected in the architecture and the I guess you can call it environmental storytelling. A lot of the story is there. There's some on the surface that's presented to you by a few of our characters in the game, and then if you want to dig deeper into the story, you can start really immersing yourself. In the typical Myst game, we have journals around and then some audio recordings, and you can feel free to enjoy those and have a more richer experience, but it's not necessarily required to still be able to play the game and still have an enjoyable experience.
So this game is available coming out for PC, Steam, but talk a little about the virtual reality game and what that experience is going to be like.
The virtual reality, one of the great benefits for us on this project, we knew right from the very beginning that we were going to be doing a VR version of this. So that really enabled us during the design process to design for both. You know, it was it allowed us to figure out early on how we want to design the world that would and the game that would work best for both methods of play. The VR really. What it does is this kind of game is very much is very just appealing in VR because in VR compared to a lot of games, you know, you kind of want to slow down, you want to take in these places because you feel like you're really there. Just like in real life, when you're somewhere new, you don't just go running around at top speed. So it's the same way in VR. And then in our games, it's the same idea. You know, ours aren't fast-paced action, action kind of oriented games. So our games involve, you know, kind of a slower walking pace where you go through, and you really just want to explore and pay attention to detail because there's a lot of attention to detail in the art and the environments. And again, they can just make you have a better experience visually, but also, you know, do impart some of the story there. VR just kind of brings that all together. It kind of plays to the best strengths, I think, of this kind of game, and we've really made sure to, you know, try to capitalize on that as much as possible right from the start.
And for HTC Vive, are you incorporating hands and those types of controls into the experience?
At launch, we are on PC, Mac, and Oculus Rift. And the Rift, comes with a gamepad controller. It's an Xbox One controller. So, being PC, we support mouse and keyboard, and the gamepad works the same in either version.
So, HTC Vive's on the horizon.
HTC Vive and additional VR platforms are certainly, you know, exciting, and we're, you know, incredibly enthusiastic about all they have to offer. So we may be thinking about those in the future.